Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and today we're going to be doing a Nephthys deck profile. So this deck actually just got some really good support in the form of Conductor of Nephthys. This card is a really insane card, and I just had to do an update of this deck because of this card. It's really good, and it just came out in Phantom Raid. So without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell on the screen, comment bar, notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon in the description below because we have some awesome rewards you guys, like if your name search for every single video, getting a signed card in the mail, or even getting to quest a deck profile every single month to your patron along with test hands. So without further ado guys, let's get straight on into this. And I have to say, this card literally does everything that the deck needed it to do, which is what's insane about this card. It's so good, and the artwork's great too. So Conductor is really good because her effect is that you can ritual summon this card with any of your Rebirth of the Nephthys cards, and if this card is ritual summon, you can special summon one Nephthys or Nephthys ritual monster from your hand or deck, except another copy of itself. This card is treated as a ritual summon as well, so it bypasses the ritual summon and just immediately gives you your Cerulean Sacred Phoenix, which is pretty good. It also has the ability that if this card is tributed or destroyed by a Nephthys card effect, then you can activate this effect that during the next demo phase, you can destroy up to 3 Nephthys cards, one each from your hand, deck, and field, and you can only use the effect of this card once per turn. Now that is really good. This bypasses the effect of the ritual that just instantly gets you a level 8 3k beat stick on your side of the field. This already comes out at 2000 attack, which is pretty good. It's easy to summon because it's a level 2 monster, and it's overall probably the single best card in the entire deck now because of just how good they made this card. And it destroys multiple cards, which is what's really amazing about this card. Let me play 3 copies of Devotee. Devotee is really good too because it has the ability that you can ritual summon this card with Rebirth of Nephthys, and you can only use the effect of this card once per turn. And if this card is ritual summon, you can activate this effect, special summon a Nephthys monster from your deck, and during your end phase, destroy this card. And then if this card is in your graveyard, you can destroy one Nephthys monster or one Nephthys card in your hand, and if you do, you special summon this card back to your side of the field, which is again really good because it bypasses and summons your Cerulean Phoenix directly from your deck, which is what's really good. We then play 2 copies of the Cerulean Sacred Phoenix of Nephthys, which is an amazing card in this deck because it has the ability that you can ritual summon this card with Rebirth of Nephthys. You can only use each effect of the following effects of Cerulean Sacred Phoenix of Nephthys once per turn. That during your main phase, you can destroy Nephthys cards in your hand and or face in your field, destroy the equal number of cards your opponent, or equal number of monsters your opponent controls, or during your next standby phase, after this card was destroyed by battle or by card effect, you can special summon this card from your graveyard, and just like a phoenix, it rises back up from the ashes. We then play a single copy of the original Sacred Phoenix of Nephthys, which is an amazing card, and I never thought this was actually going to be a ritual archetype when we got this card. It was leaning more towards being like what Fire Kings are, but they went with this weird ritual route, but I mean it works. It's neat. I like it. It's cool. It's really cool. I like the way that they made the deck. It's just an overall fun deck. We then play 3 copies of Disciple of Nephthys, which is a pretty cool card, and she's super cute because her helmet is just too big for her head, which is really funny. But it has the ability that during your main phase, you can destroy 1 card in your hand, and if you do, you get to add a Nephthys monster from your deck to your hand, except another copy of yourself, and then during the next standby phase, after this card was destroyed by a card effect and sent to the graveyard, you get to add a Nephthys spell or trap from your deck to your hand as well. So this card literally searches every card in the deck, which is pretty good. We then play a single copy of each of the Nephthys monsters, which is a single one of this one because it has the ability that you can target one of your level 4 or lower Nephthys monsters in your graveyard, except another copy of her self, which is Matriarch, and her ability to destroy 1 card in your hand. And if you do, you can special summon the targeted monster in defense position, but its effects are negated. And then during your next time phase, if this card was destroyed by a card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon this card from your graveyard, which is pretty good just to be able to keep reviving your cards. It really reminds me of the way that Fire Kings kind of play. We then play 2 copies of Chronicler of the Nephthys. This card's pretty good in the deck. I really like her as a 2-of. It lets you target one of your Nephthys cards in your graveyard, except another copy of yourself, and then you destroy a card on the field in your hand, and if you do, you get to add that card back from your graveyard to your hand, which is pretty good to add your ritual monsters back, and is the reason I play her as a 2-of, because she helps you get your ritual monsters back in your hand, so you can just keep playing, and she also shares the ability during the next standby phase. If she was destroyed, then you can special summon her, which is pretty cool. Actually, you get to add a Nephthys spell or trap or Nephthys card from your graveyard to your hand as well, which is pretty cool to be able to add this card. She doesn't special summon, but she does let you add. Then we play for the incantation engine. We play 3 copies of Chalice Slime because Chalice Slime comes in handy. Special summon after your incantations from your hand, or from your deck, I mean. We play 2 copies of Talismandra because Talismandra lets you add a ritual monster from your deck to your hand. 2 copies of Candle. Candle lets you add a ritual spell from your deck to your hand. 1 copy of Bookstone because Bookstone adds ritual spells from your graveyard to your hand. And then 3 copies of Pencil Plume because Pencil Plume lets you add a ritual monster from your graveyard to your hand, which is pretty good. I like that ability. It helps out a lot. And they're overall really good cards in the deck. The other thing that you have to keep in mind is they all share the ability that you reveal a ritual monster in your hand. Special summon both this card and then another incantation from your deck, which the one that's special summoned from the deck is the one that gets its effect off, which is the really good effect of the incantations. We then play my own personal text in the deck, which is 3 copies of Junk Synchron. I know this is a little bit weird, but as you look at the deck, it's really crazy. Like, the way that this deck works is if you can go into your copy of Herald of the Arclight, it's really good, but there's also a level 5 Synchro monster in the extra deck that I really love playing in this deck, and it's really cool. You can also use this to link climb a little bit, because it helps you go into your other link monsters that are in the extra deck, because when this card is normal summon, you get to target a level 2 or lower monster in your graveyard and special summon that targeting defense, but you negate its effects, which you play all of these, and then your 6 ritual monsters also count as level 2 monsters, so you just get to special summon all of them back. So this is like a personal tech of mine that I really love playing in this deck, and it's just an overall good card. We then play 2 copies of Miss Valley Baby Rook. This card is another really good tech card in the deck that I play as a 2 of, and it has the ability that when this card is sent directly from your hand to the graveyard, you get to special summon it. It is a level 2 tuner monster, which helps you get into Herald of the Arclight ridiculously easy. Now, keep in mind that with your incantations, they do lock you out of the extra deck, which kind of sucks, but at the same time, you do have the ability with these cards to get them off the field and destroy them ridiculously easy, which is why I'm not super worried about playing my 5 tuners to get into the extra deck, because you're already getting into the Sacred, the Nephthys, the Sacred in your extra deck anyways, so you're touching the extra deck anyways, so these cards will just get destroyed by card effects, so it's fine, or used it for ritual fodder, so they do get off the field pretty quickly. So that's it for the monsters, guys. I know it's a lot of monsters, but it's a ritual deck, so basically playing like 30 something monsters, I think, in the deck. It's ridiculous. Just count the spells, it'll make it easier. So for the spells, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Preparation of Rites. Preparation of Rites helps out a lot because it lets you add a level 7 or lower ritual monster from your deck to your hand, and you can add a ritual spell from your graveyard to your hand as well, but you have the ability to just add the ritual monster because it says then you can add. So this card's really good to let you then you can add the ritual spells. So this card essentially searches your level 2 ritual monsters really easily. We then play 3 copies of Pre-Preparation of Rites, which adds your copy of your Cerulean Phoenix or your other cards from your deck to your hand, which is pretty good to add those cards from your deck to your hand. I really like that effect. It has the ability to add 1 ritual spell from your deck to your hand, and then a card that's specifically listed on the ritual spell to be able to add it directly from your deck to your hand, which is super handy. And then we play 3 copies of the Rebirth of Nephthys. Rebirth of Nephthys lets you add, or lets you ritual summon any of your Nephthys ritual monsters, which is really cool, by using monsters in your hand or field whose total level equal or exceed the level of the ritual monster. Then if you tributed a Devotee or a Cerulean Phoenix, you can destroy a card on the field as well, which is pretty good to be able to destroy your copies of your incantations and just get them off the field as quickly as possible so you can start touching the extra deck again. It's just really nice. So overall, a really good card, and you play 31 monsters in the deck, if you were curious. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to be playing 2 copies of Nephthys the Sacred, which is a really good card in the extra deck that has the ability that you can only use the following effects of it once per turn. And then during your main phase, if this card is link summoned, you can activate one of the effects to either add a level 8 Winged Beast monster from your deck to your hand. Then you can add a ritual spell from your graveyard to your hand, or destroy 1 Nephthys monster this card points to, and then special summon a Nephthys monster with a different name from your graveyard, but negate its effects. So it's a really good card. It helps you link climb a little bit, and it's just a really good card overall. 1 copy of Nephthys the Sacred Flame. This card's probably one of my favorite link monsters in the entire game, especially for ritual-based archetypes, because depending on the amount of link materials that are ritual monsters, you can make this card gain effects if you use one ritual monster to summon this card, it can't be destroyed by battle. If you use two, it can't be destroyed by battle, or it can be destroyed by battle or by card effects, and it also gains 1200 attack. And neither player, if you use three, neither player can target this card with card effects, and it gains an additional 1200. So it goes all the way up to 4800. Can't be destroyed by battle, can't be destroyed by card effects, and neither player can target it as well. This card becomes like really immortal. Like it becomes like an immortal phoenix that your opponent cannot like get rid of. I love playing this card in Necros because in that deck it is just ridiculous. We then play a single copy of Appaloosa. Appaloosa is really good because this card is just really good at negating monster effects. One copy of Unchained Abomination. Unchained Abomination helps out because it just pops cards on the field, and it helps out with the theme of the deck. One copy of Smorg. Smorg helps you special summon out Winged Beast monsters from the deck, so it's just an overall really helpful card. Overall, it helps you get your Sacred Phoenix out from your deck as quickly as possible to get it onto your side of the field, and you can link climb into this card pretty easily. Another card that you can play in the deck that I thought about playing was Mist Valley Apex Avian, but I didn't really know where to drop it, drop a card to actually put it in. You could drop feasibly, you could drop a single copy of Jung Synchron if you want to drop a single copy of Jung Synchron, or you could drop a copy of Matriarch if you want to drop a copy of, or Chronicler, I mean. You could drop a single copy of Chronicler, or you could drop a copy of Jung Synchron to play a copy of Apex Avian if you want to go that route. I didn't because it just bounces itself off the field and then it comes back and it bounces. And it is a negate, but it's okay. It's not the best negate in the world. We play a single copy of Access Code Talker. Access Code Talker comes in really handy because it gives you additional pops on the field. We play a single copy of Unicorn to spin stuff, Phoenix to pop spells or traps, and a single copy of Cerberus to pop monsters. We then play a single copy of Sky Cavalry because you play so many level 2s in the deck. And then for the Synchro monsters, we're playing a single copy of Black Rose Dragon because it gives you so many pops on the field, and it just destroys the entire field, which is super helpful for you. Now, the level 5 Synchro monster that I was playing in this deck that I was originally mentioning is, ironically enough, what you normally would summon with Jung Synchron, and it's Yusei's ace card, or was one of Yusei's ace cards, which is Junk Warrior. Junk Warrior is really good in the deck, and you guys might be looking at this card and going, wait, what? But this card's good. Surprisingly, what it does is when this card is synchro summoned, it gains the attack of the total attack of all level 2 monsters, level 2 or lower monsters on the field. So if you look at the deck, a lot of your level 2 monsters, like for example, Conductor, comes out at 200 or 2000, and that's pretty big for this card to come out as a level 5 synchro monster that is at 43. Like, that's pretty good just with that one monster on the field. This is sitting at 1200 that gives it an additional boost that just if this is on the field, it comes out at 35. And then if you have any of the other lower level monsters, it doesn't come out too big with the other ones because it's only 600 and 300, but the other two ritual monsters boost it up by an additional 1200 to 2000 attack. And you can always link climb instead if you don't want to go ahead and summon out the copy of Junk Warrior. It just depends on what kind of field you got. Now, I love playing older nostalgia cards and coming up with weird techs, and this was my weird tech at the deck. We then play 2 copies of Herald of the Arclight. Herald of the Arclight comes in handy because you can summon it with Baby Rook really easily, and any monster that's sent from your hand or the monster zone, or any monster sent from the hand or the main deck to the graveyard, is banished instead. And then when a spell or trap is activated or a monster effect is activated, you can tribute this card and negate the activation if you destroy that card. So you're basically going to get this off the field as quickly as possible anyways. And if this card is sent to the graveyard, you get to add a ritual monster or ritual spell from your deck to your hand. So it comes in as a search and a negation, which is really good. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. It's a really fun deck to play around with. It's kind of a weird, fun deck to play around with. It's pretty budget, too, if you're looking for a weird Winged Beast deck that you really want to play. Birds, shout out to Savannah, because she loves birds. And she might eventually pick this deck up. I don't know, but it's fun. It's a really weird deck that plays Phoenixes, and it kind of reminds me of the Winged Dragon of Ra, and it's fun to play with. So, anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell on there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below, because we got those awesome rewards for you guys, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.